Thank you. It is such an honor to be here with so many patriots. And as Jackie mentioned a minute ago, I grew up in Cuba under a strong military oppressive dictatorship. So as a teenager, I found myself involved in a revolution. I remember during that time a young charismatic leader rose up talking about hope and change. His name was Fidel Castro. And we all followed him. We thought he was going to be our liberator. As a result of being involved in the revolution, I was imprisoned, I was tortured, but by the grace of God, I was able to leave Cuba on a student visa and came to the greatest country on the face of the earth. Went to Austin, Texas, got a job as a dishwasher and paid my way to the University of Texas. And then in 1959, when Castro took over, I went back to Cuba. And I got the shock of my life. That same man that had been talking before about hope and change now was talking about how the rich were evil, about how they oppressed the people, and about the need to redistribute the wealth. He began attacking the press, curtail freedom of the press, attacking religion, confiscating property. Then he began instituting socialized medicine and imposing wage and price controls, basically reducing everybody's salary to a least common denominator. As a result, productivity was destroyed, free enterprise was destroyed. To give you an idea, today in Cuba, the average salary is $14 a month. $14 a month. I remember during that time, also he mandated that all public schools had to teach Marxist ideology. My mother was a 6th grade elementary school teacher. She refused to do so and she was fired for it. And she said, I would rather suffer the consequences that poison the minds of children with communist indoctrination. So I came back to the United States totally disillusioned, but glad and thanking God for the opportunity that this country offered me. And I decided that I was in the land of the free and the home of the brave, and this is the land of opportunity, and with hard work and determination, I could achieve any dream. And so within a few years, after graduating from college, I had my own business in oil and gas exploration. And then in 1976, I was shocked again when I saw a government started in this country instituting socialist policies, which I very easily recognized because of my experience in Cuba. So I became very active in the Reagan campaign. I joined an organization called the Religious Roundtable, a Judeo-Christian group that was very instrumental in helping Reagan get elected. So when my son was 9 years old, our conversation around the dinner table centered on politics every day. I remember over and over I would ask him, you know, Ted, when I faced oppression in Cuba, I had a place to come to. If we lose our freedoms here, where are we going to go? There is no place to go. This is the bastion of freedom in the world. And this is why we have to fight to protect the freedom we have. You know, we have a responsibility to carry forth these ideals of freedom to our children and our grandchildren. I remember when my son was still in junior high, I introduced him to an organization called the Free Enterprise Institute. He began reading Milton Friedman, von Mises, Hayek, Adam Smith, Frederick Bastiat, the Federalist Papers, the Anti-Federalist Papers. And as he entered high school, he and 4 other kids under the Free Enterprise Institute started a group called the Constitutional Corroborators. They memorized the entire U.S. Constitution, and for the next 4 years, they gave approximately 80 speeches across the state of Texas, just talking about the free markets and the Constitution. Before my son left high school, he knew without a shadow of a doubt what his purpose in life would be. And that would be to defend freedom and the Constitution, to work for limited government and the free enterprise system. But you know, as we see what's happening today in this country, perhaps some of us could get this solution. I think the most ominous words I've ever heard was in the last 2 State of the Union addresses, when our president said, if Congress does not act, I will act unilaterally. Not much different than that or bearded friend that I left behind in Cuba, governing by decree, by executive order, just like a dictator like Fidel Castro. And you know, when I look at our heritage, that's a great heritage of this country. I am so proud to be an American. We live in the greatest country on the face of the earth. That is why I feel so offended when our president goes around the world apologizing for America and negating our American exceptionalism. But the truth is, this country is exceptional and unique in the world. You know, I feel that without a shadow of a doubt, outside of the Bible, the greatest 2 documents that have ever been penned are the Constitution of the United States and the Declaration of Independence. And the reason those 2 documents have lasted for 230 years is because they were written on the knees of the framers. Men of God seeking wisdom from above. And those truths are as relevant today as they were 230 years ago. And you know, when we see the intrusion upon our liberties, when we see whether it is looking at our emails or listening to our telephone calls, or when we see the IRS targeting Tea Party groups, freedom-loving groups, because for their political ideology, I say we can remain silent no more. Silent no more.